And let me tell you a little something about him. He was talking one night while we were over there, and I was kind of wandering around talking like I usually do. And I heard this guy's voice and his story. I stopped dead in my tracks, I turned around, I gave him my full attention. And let me tell you, his story is very touching, and I hope you all enjoy it. Here he is, Pete Byzantine.
First, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight to show their support for Becky. I go to a lot of these benefits, especially around the central Illinois area. I think it's such a great thing in the small communities. I grew up in Gillespie to see everyone rally around someone that you know like this. So for you guys being here, let's give one more round of applause. So like many of you, my family and I have been through a tough situation with cancer. I'm going to tell you the survivor story of the man who I'm most proud of on this planet, and that's my dad, Pete Sr. Liz and I, in June 2012 of last year, my now wife Liz and I were scheduled to get married. We had spent a year planning a big wedding in Gillespie, about 500 people invited. Let me rephrase that. Liz, my mom, and her mom spent a year planning the wedding. I just said yes. You guys know how that goes. So on July 4th, 2012, as you can imagine, things were getting pretty intense leading up to our big day on July 21st, 2012. Liz and I were in Granite City getting ready to go see some fireworks, and my phone buzzed, and I got a text from my mom that they were taking my dad to the emergency room over in the Litchfield Hospital. She said, "Don't worry about coming, it's no big deal. We think it's just his carpal tunnel acting up from all of his years as a mechanic." So when I hung up the phone, I turned to Liz and I said, "I just have a funny feeling." I said, "My dad is not the type of man to go to the hospital, for something small." So without telling them or knowing anything, we got in the car and went. And it's a good thing we did, because about 5 minutes after we got there, the doctor was in the room evaluating my dad for carpal tunnel, and they had already done a routine CT scan like they do with everybody that goes into the emergency room at that hospital. And the doctor came in, and he said the words to my family and I that shook us to our core and changed the way we'll live our lives forever. He came back in the room and said, "Pete, I have some shocking and bad news. There's a mass on your brain, and it isn't small." This turned our lives upside down in an instant. And our attitude was just like everyone else that this happens to, and that being, this is not supposed to happen to us. This happens to other people. This does not happen to us. You think that way until it does. And from there, we were sent immediately to St. John's Hospital in Springfield, where by the time we got there, my dad was already getting evaluated by a team of neurosurgeons in the neuro section of the ER unit. It was later determined that he would need a brain biopsy to see if the cells in his brain tumor were malignant or benign. And a biopsy is usually not a big deal, but when it's in the middle of your brain, it is. They had to drill a hole in his head. I'm sorry about getting too graphic, but they had to do that, and it took him a week to recover. We were then sent home for a week and to rest and for them to get the test results in. A week later, we were called back. We went in, and the news was clear, concise, and not good. The neurosurgeon turned to us and said that it was a glioblastoma. And I knew just from the little bit of research I had done for that week that glio was the last first syllable that I wanted to come out of his mouth. It's a very aggressive, very fast-growing type of cancer. So at this point, we had about 5 minutes to make our decision after the doctor told us our options were, number one, let it go, which could give him 3 months to live max. Number two, wait till after the wedding and then have the tumor resected. Or number three, have it taken out right away. Without much deliberation, we decided to have it taken out right away. This was on Saturday, and then the following Saturday was our wedding. So, as you can imagine, this was a really trying time. We didn't think he was going to make it to the wedding. Before the surgery, they came in and asked my dad if he would volunteer to take an experimental drug that had been taken by 8 patients so far and it only worked partially on one of them. The purpose of the drug was to turn the malignant brain tumor tissue a different color than the healthy brain tissue so that they could take as much of the malignant tissue as they could and leave the healthy brain tissue intact. He said yes. The surgery, when he went in, took about 2 hours longer than we anticipated, and when the doctor came out, we were all expecting bad news because of the delay, but he came out and said that my dad was basically a miracle because the drug had lit up his malignant cells like a light bulb, and they were able to resect almost every little bit of the tumor. So, to this day, I consider my dad a walking miracle. Every 3 months, we have to have an MRI scan as long as his scans stay clean. He doesn't have to go back or doesn't have to undergo any more treatment. He does have to undergo maintenance level chemo for 5 days a month for the rest of his life. So I told you that story to tell you this one. Back in August 2012, about a month after that happened, I decided to start a company called Fight the Fight Clothing, where we donate 50% of all the profits to individuals who get large unexpected medical expenses. And over the past year, we've been able to donate around $14,000 to individuals in need so far. And starting. Starting in 1 week, we'll be working to do a donation for Becky, and we'll do our best to get as much money together as we can for her. Before I conclude, I want to say one thing I forgot, and that's that my dad did make it to our wedding 1 week after his brain surgery last year, and they told him the night before the wedding that he had about a 1 in 100 chance of making it, and he ended up getting there. So it took a whole bunch of nurses, doctors, everybody at the hospital, all of our friends pulling together, just like you guys are, to get him there, and we made that happen. So to conclude, I've often thought about what I would say to a group of survivors or to a group of people like you guys who has a friend or loved one who's been affected by a serious medical condition. I came up with 3 things. Number 1 is never quit. The minute you quit in your mind, your body will begin to give up as well. Every single experience, every single day, every single minute that we have in life is something worth fighting for. You may have to go through the pain and discomfort of radiation, chemo, and surgery, but you must never forget that every speck of time we have here is worth fighting for. Number 2, struggle produces strength. Nobody gets where they want to be in life without overcoming adversity. The same goes for all of us. If it were easy to stay fit and healthy and make lots of money, everybody would do it, but it's not. Cancer is just another obstacle that's put in our path that we have to go through, over, under, or around, and overcome. The more you have to struggle, the stronger you will come out on the other side. And number 3, lastly, I think when something like cancer happens to you or to a loved one, it's easy to focus on all the bad things and all the negativity that surrounds it. But you have to think of all the positives in your life. Enjoy life, enjoy every day, take risks, move forward, don't hold back, and each and every day is a gift, and it should be lived that way. So I want to leave you guys by saying this. You've done a good job. You've all fought well so far, but I think our best days are yet to come. Thank you.